name is Lamont Gilchrist. www.lgfitnessmessiah.com is my web page. And this is my how to squat, or what is the components of what it is that you're trying to do in this squat. The squat is a very complex lift. It's an axial loaded lift, which the bar is across your back or across your shoulders or across the front part of your shoulders. And you're basically bending down to a certain angle with your knees and your hips in ratio to each other and standing back up. Although that sounds very easy, it is very complex because there's a lot of different biomechanics and mechanisms that can go into the biomechanics of the femur in relation to the fibula and the tibula. So in Squatting 101, I'm going to show you how to sit up for your squat. Now I hear a lot of different things, and on the powerlifting aspect, it is very true. You want to work on leverages depending on how long your arms are and your legs, as far as how far you got to go down parallel, knee wraps and everything else. But just to simplify, just to get people just set up into the basic squat biomechanics where they could transfer the most power, we're going to start with, in my other video, Lifting 101, if you go to that, I'll show you how to set up for your squat. Now, you hear so many things about foot width apart, sliding out outside your shoulders, and how to place your feet. So I'm going to show you the basic setup for everyone in their own biomechanic anatomy. So I have a line here on the ground. And so what I do is I step to this line and I act like I'm going to jump up for my life to grab a rope, where I'm jumping up and just slightly out a little bit at an angle about right to there. So I sit my body ready to jump up and to jump out. And this right here, there's a proper biomechanics for anyone in a squatting position. The reason why this works is because of evolution in human anatomy. In your most dire time, regardless of whatever it is, that you're doing or whatever your training is, when the basic instincts that you have to fight for your life, flight or flight, basic athletic or primal principles of movement comes into play, and we respond if we're not spooked in those basic ways. So if our dog was coming, I'd drop and get into this position. If I was going to do a standing broad jump, I'd drop and get into this position. I use this position and I teach this position, and I make this position relevant in teaching it because this is the position that I get into when I jump up to perform a vertical test jump. And that is the best amount of power that can be measured from a force off the ground into transferring power straight up. The NFL Combine use it, and that's how people test it. And then they also do the standing broad jump. But the vertical jump is the one that you create, and you measure force coming off the ground and going up, which is what you need for leg force in the squatting motion. My vertical jump was 43.5, and my time is the best in the country in 93, D1, D2, and I can stand up under the rim at 5'9" and jump up and dunk with two hands. So I know what I'm talking about for the most part because I've done it, and this is how I've trained it to be able to do this. So the best jump position is how you set up for your squat. So that's going to be your leg width. You see you have a little triangle going down, and you have a good base, and you're into an athletic position. Spine angle, ligament, tendons, bones, and everything are active. You don't want to stand like this because bone stacked over bone is strong like this, but the ligament, tendons, and everything else don't get you ready to go. So from this angle, now we're going to talk about the hips. So from this angle, if I go ahead and squat down to try to sit, I got to lean forward a lot to counterbalance or leverage with my arms. So it'll be really hard in my back area, my spine go through it. That is because my pelvis is traveling back behind my knees to some degree. And that's fine. But to be efficient and correct, and to incorporate as many muscles as we can actually possibly incorporate. From here, we're going to turn our feet out slightly at an angle so that we create what it feels like is that your two heels should be coming up in between the crack of your legs to your sacrum, right back between your butt. What that is going to allow you to do is to work more muscles, be able to get into the posterior chain, work the abducting muscles. But more importantly, when you're squatting, it's going to let you keep a better spine angle and let your hips go down through your legs and not down behind. And this is the most sitting position for most primitive, prehistoric. This is how we used to sit when we didn't sit on our butt and mess up our lower back from a sacrum loaded squatting position. So this allows me to get down and to get back up. Now, the number one thing that you want to do when you're developing your squat, so you have the biomechanics, is working your range of motion. I don't care how far people go down or how low you go, if you go ass to ground or if you do these little squats right here, because they are relevant if you're working something. But the further that you go through a range of motion in any exercise, the more dynamic your body has to work, the more muscles your body has to work, the more flexibility that you're displaying, full range of power from bottom to top, the better athlete, the better look, and the better aesthetics that you're going to have. People say, well, how is that so? Have you ever seen dancers? Have you ever seen gymnasts? Have you ever seen people who do full ranges of motion, athletes that use really full ranges of motions, and their lines and aesthetics and their power output at different aspects of whatever it is that they're doing is immaculate or excellent. And that's the difference between athletes. Athletes who have a shorter range of motion, which I could generate a lot of power right here and probably jump 30-some inches. But when I go to do my vertical jump, I get down here and you see where I'm loading everything up and I'm coiling like a spring, and I'm transferring that power out of my legs from the ground into an upward vertical plane with more muscles incorporated, with more momentum to be able to go up using my arms as leverages and swings, and that's something different. So remember, when you're working on your squat, get into your jump position. First, act like you're going to do a vertical jump, touching something right in front of you. Go ahead and relax. Angle your feet out so that your heels come straight up the middle of your body, so that your pelvic can go down through and your hips can actually work and you can get into your abducting muscles. And the last thing, watch some more videos. I'll make some more videos about how to do it. Before you go down, anytime that you're contracting, which is a concentric part of it, you want to, actually it's the eccentric part of it, you're actually lowering. So you want to make sure that you get that pelvic wall, abdominal wall pressed down, rib cage expanded as a stabilizer and an energy source. So you take a deep breath. So you go down. If your heels come off the ground, you want to work on your Achilles tendon flexibility. I'll make a video on that. And there's some other things that you can work on. Once you get to a full range of motion where you can do that, or you can sit down there in that position for 5 to 10 minutes and then stand back up, you're well on your way to developing an excellent squat and great legs. My name is Lamont Gilchrist. Thanks.